really great Bitcoin trade I'm going to share with these guys in a minute. But you know, the only way not to miss the rally is just to go long at the market, IBIT or Bitcoin. That's the only way. And then when it
I
makes its
think
best run,
so.
you say you got in, right? You can't catch that big run if you don't get in, right, Jeffrey? Tell me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have yet to catch any big move in the market without being in.
And I think Alex, you were in on this Bitcoin run up, right? I'm kicking myself for not buying in when you told me you were.
Yeah, I started December, November when it started buying up a lot. It's been good. I didn't even check today. What are we at today?
Hovering around 118,000
Oh
still,
wow.
and
Oh wow.
I will
Yeah.
hop off to the esteemed panelists in a second. Alex, before you got on, Andrew in the chat was asking about your ASAM trade, so just wanted to make sure we didn't lose that in the shuffle.
ASAM trade. Hmm. I haven't traded that. I don't know what that is. ASTS?
So maybe he's just asking about your insights on it. Andrew, if you want to post your comment again.
Yeah,
So,
just let us know, Andrew. We'll get that to you or we'll talk about it or whatever. Though I
but
don't have any thoughts on it because I've never heard of it. Um, how we doing, gentlemen? Jack, Jeffrey?
Great.
Hey, another day in
Yeah.
paradise.
That's right. We're not financial advisors. The content presented today is for educational purposes only and merely cite our own personal opinions. In order to make the best financial decisions suit your own needs, you must conduct your own research and seek the advice of a licensed financial advisor if necessary. Know all investments involve some form of risk, and there is no guarantee you will be successful in making, saving, or investing money, nor is there a guarantee you won't experience a loss when investing. Always remember to make smart decisions. And of course, folks, do your own research, please. Um, all that being said, uh, new meme stock just dropped. What do we think about this?
It didn't really drop. I mean, it's been out there, but it was 10% of all the volume yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Did you hear about
options.
this, Jack?
Yeah, the options were crazy.
Yeah,
Options really crazy. There was a lot of action with Lance's news flow scanner. Like, you know, somebody knows something ahead of time with this open door. They were all over it. So I haven't done anything with it. I still been busy trying to ride that bull core weave. I really want to get a handle on that thing. And I'm trading coin and circle and of course NVIDIA and AVGO, but I haven't done anything yet with this.
it's I was looking, I'm like, I don't know really, there's nothing really to gain from it except it is being maybe a short squeeze or a meme coin from like Wall Street Bets. But I was looking at the I was like, man, I mean, maybe the options are pretty cheap. I mean, if you go out, 1 week, they're only like 58 cents,
Well,
the
this is
37.
what we saw a lot in 2020, 2021 on the back of COVID. We saw the actual options volume, as Jack was alluding to, making the underlying stock move. It's
Yeah.
very rare for this to occur, but
Yes.
it uh, it does happen, and it's called a gamma squeeze in market nerd technology or tech terminology, excuse me. And basically, the volume of options just like vastly exceeds the volume of the stock by so much amount that it creates the short squeeze for institutional holders that have to cover. And it's just like this self-fulfilling prophecy of going higher until it runs out of gas, and then it's all over.
Right.
That's a very interesting thing you brought up about this one, Jeffrey, because my whole career since early 80s was the underlying stock controlled the price of the option, right? Now we have a few stocks where I refer to it as the tail wagging the dog, where the options are controlling the price of the underlying stock, not the other way around. It's a brand new phenomenon, and I expect it to happen on more stocks going forward just because the volume of options is just insane, and it stresses the options market maker to where they have to play with the actual underlying stock as well. So it creates a lot of volatility. The tail wagging the dog is a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, I'm thinking just, I mean, these contracts are, $28 a pop. It's just screw it. Why not? Why not just play it? I mean, that's, for $28 a pop, it's it's not that very expensive. Just throw it in here. I mean, you can do 25th of July, which is maybe not that. I mean, maybe this week, but like going out a little farther, not much more expensive. And you have some good open interest levels here. I don't know. I'm
And
thinking
the
about
lesson I learned from
thinking about
the lesson I learned back in the early 2020s on these gamma stock plays, when the option prices get to be what seems like expensive and they're like barely any change as you go up or down the chain, usually that's coming to an end. That's like the market makers saying, all right, enough is enough. We're pricing it all just ridiculous. And that usually puts the kibosh on the move at that point. So that's a big telltale sign that it might be coming to an end
It is.
when you see that happen.
When that option price gets real high and doesn't move, even when the stock moves a little bit, that's when you know they already priced every little tiny bit of move into the option, and stock can go up and the option doesn't go up. It's weird.
Sometimes the option goes down.
yeah. Yeah, we will see. We will see. Anyways, that is Open Door. I don't really even know what they do. They're a startup from the real estate. There
That's
is
I know what they do. They're basically a house flipper that's a company. They have an automated buying process. You just fill out an app. It's kind of like taking the CarMax, uh, make any offer on any car model and doing that for real estate. And then they buy your real estate, flip, do any improvements, flip it over and sell it. So
Oh, that's great for housing
Sounds
costs.
like a terrible business to me.
Yeah, my buddy was thinking about investing in property. I don't know if I don't think it was this company, but it was something similar where they basically will buy these, flip these houses and then they property manage them and everything, and just a fund. But I was like telling him, I was like, man, I don't know. He's thinking about buying a place in Memphis, and he's never been to Memphis. And I was like, why?
Don't do it.
Don't
Don't
do
do
it, man.
Don't do it.
It's not as carefree as they make it out to be.
I got out of real estate, I don't know, not too long ago, and I'm never going back in. I was doing hard money loans, right? They're just
Oh wow.
1% per month on the money, and if they didn't pay, they were late even one time, I just took the house. So I only lent out 60 to 62% on the tax assessed value, so it was very hard to lose. But playing with real estate is kind of like sausage. It tastes good, the profits taste good, but you don't want to see it being made, right? It's a dirty game. I don't like it. The stock market's so much cleaner and easier. You can buy and sell millions of dollars worth of stock. You don't need a lender or a bank holding you up, or I don't know. I don't think the real estate even compares to the market.
Yeah, I mean, me and Ezra own a pretty decent sized portfolio, and it's not as carefree as we thought it would be. It was a hassle for it still sort of is, but it's coming around now. We got everything stabilized, but yeah, it was pretty wild there for a little while. A lot of work.
Yeah.
So that's what I was telling my buddy. It's like it's not going to be work free, and like if they're saying it's going to be like worry free, then you're probably not making any significant money on it.
It's not passive income.
No,
No,
not at all. Just buy Ulti or something like that, right? ULTY, one of those yield max ETFs. You want some passive income?
Guilty income, right? They pay monthly.
Yeah, weekly now. Actually, I think they just changed that. Yeah.
yeah, there's several paying weekly now. That's a new hot thing.
So I know you were talking about crypto, and I was, wanted to get on here and start talking about this. So crypto seems to I mean, it's gaining traction, right? We're hitting all-time highs. We did hit all-time highs on Bitcoin, Ethereum spiking. But crypto doesn't seem like it's slowing down. We have this Telegram's crypto wallet goes live to its 87 million US users. This was an article published in the CNBC today. And then we had a couple days ago, Charles Schwab is going to launch spot Bitcoin and crypto trading on its platform. So if you use Thinkorswim, you could be trading crypto very soon on there.
Wow.
Big stuff, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like the train's slowing down, especially like you were talking about last week, Jack. If those stable coins, Amazon stable coins, right? Everybody's trying to move into those. There's some significant, there's still a tremendous significant upside for crypto in general. I definitely think it's it's still in the zeitgeist, so hasn't run out of steam.
Now, I have a pretty good crypto trade for the folks today. You tell me when you want me to show that.
Let's do it now. Do you want to share your screen, or do you just want me to do the charting?
I'll share it.
Okay, let me stop my share.
All right, I gotta find it.
Big Dog Jack came with the ammo today.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I know I like it. So you tell me what you guys think. All right, can you share? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
you.
Cool. So
Well, I got a naked put to share. I want to get your opinion on later too. So we have
love naked puts.
lots
I
of
love
naked puts.
like a fat kid loves cake. I just cannot get enough of it. So now I'm long 1,700 shares of IBIT, just full disclosure, and I got a pile of Bitcoin as well. But you can kind of back into a Bitcoin trade, kind of doing it backwards. Instead of just buying it and watching it go up, you wait, play a little wiggle here. So what we're doing here with a naked put is you sell two open IBIT August 29th, 65 strike price put. So the current price of the stock is 67.47. You can get 231 for selling that 65 strike price put, right? That's going to bring in $231. Now, if you don't do it on margin, that's cool. You're going to have $6,747 cash. In the unlikely event you have the stock assigned to you at 65, you're gonna need 6,500, excuse me, in the account, not 6747. Now, if you do it on margin, this is the craziest part. When you buy a stock on margin, it's 50%, right? When you do this, a naked put on margin, you only need 20% of the underlying stock price. That's one of the craziest rules that has flown below the radar of most traders. Now, either way, it's still a good trade, but on margin, it's an even better trade because you got such little skin in the game. So here, doing it on margin, we put 1349. The puts are out of the money by 247. The margin required per contract is 1333 and 40 cents. Very affordable, right? Credited to your account instantly 231 clams. So that's a 17.3% yield right there on that trade ending up August 29th. Now, if you get the stock at 65, your real cost basis is 65 minus 231. So if you have the stock assigned to you at 65, you could turn around and sell it at 65. You still make the 231. If you don't get the stock put to you by August 29th, you keep the 231, you do it again in September. And if you do get the stock at 65, you could turn around and start selling covered calls, which is what I'm doing. And it's been great. So one thing though, too, is I've tried this several times and I've wanted to get the stock assigned to me. And you gotta have your strike pretty close to the market price on this one, or you won't be able to have it assigned to you. And just making the money off it's great too. But that's what I got for you.
I like it. I like it. I mean, it's not it's close to the money too. So you really do want to own it.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. When I got 1,700 shares, I wouldn't mind having 2,000 or more. Because once you get it, you can start selling the calls every month. And that's just insane. I mean, it's awesome. Awesome way to play Bitcoin without even owning Bitcoin. Use IBIT instead because there's no way to cash flow the actual Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were just talking about, crypto's just more use cases being rolled out to more companies. It just seems like it's still in a secular uptrend. There's still use cases being adopted. So I mean, I don't know. I like this trade. I might
There's even states that are doing their own reserves now. Wisconsin and Florida, they're both talking about it. Everybody wants a Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Donald one of Trump's companies buying 2 billion in Bitcoin.
It's great. Speaking of 2 billion, we got to go back and talk about, I just can't get over this this dude, man. I just cannot. I can't believe it. First of all, who authorized him to spend 2.5 billion? That's one. And on number two, what do you spend it on? Right?
Well, they actually started this back in 2016 is like when they started or I guess 2017 when he came into power, that is when they started this. They actually submitted the building renovation plans for these two buildings in Washington, D.C. I looked it up a little bit, Jack, just to see. The original estimate was like $1.6 billion to do all the remediation and stuff like that. And it's amped up and amped up until it got to 2.5 billion. But
How could
I
it be?
just can't. Two buildings in Washington, D.C. for you could wreck them, you could tear them down and rebuild them for that kind of money, I would think.
Many times over.
There was some sheiks in Saudi Arabia, and they love horses. They built an entire stable out of marble and gold, and it didn't cost 2.5 billion. Probably cost 2 billion, but I don't know. I just don't know who authorized this guy to spend the money, and what could he have possibly spent it on? I don't even know if that's in his job description to be, buying paintings and carpets and old couches and stuff. But that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, did he? Haven't really been following it closely. Was he actually authorizing all this, or was
I
it?
guess so. It's to me, it's the bigger story. Yeah, taxpayer money, Art is saying. It's just crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. This guy, he's something else.
And the one a representative submitted him yesterday to Department of Justice to be investigated under criminal charges for lying under oath to the House about the nature of the renovations and what was going on for the last what has it been, almost 10 years and
Yeah.
8 years. So she referred him yesterday, and that was big news that was
Well,
coming
that's the
in. So
thing. That's another thing. They'll probably never even get done with the renovations. They'll just spend more and more billions and never actually finish them. That's like how everything works, right? It's just a perpetual. It's like wars. You're never going to
yeah.
defeat the enemy. You're never going to rebuild the building. You're never going to finish the project, the construction project. But you have to keep on giving us money, or else we'll never finish it. But you never finish it. Crazy, man. So I guess I want to come back to these home builders, but while we're talking about premium puts, I want to see what your opinion was, guys, on this Starbucks 1st August 25th $89 put. Now, my idea with this one was more, Jeffrey, how you were doing that aggressive wheel strategy on the weeklies. This is obviously not on the weeklies, 2 weeks. So you're not going to really capture. I wouldn't be trying to capture 100% of the premium, right? But let me just go over here to this. So looking at Starbucks, I guess they got earnings coming up as well, which I know is a iffy time to trade sell premium. But I do see it so they're just laying it down for this trade here. Support zone right here about $90. So again, we would be looking at the $89 naked puts here, which is below recent support, again earnings, but we're coming in on Tuesday the 29th, so basically a week from now. So if we go out here and look at sort of the profit diagram on it, this would be, if we can stay, as we get before earnings, even before next Tuesday, as long as we stay again in this range on Starbucks that we've had multiple tests of, this resistance line, you could collect, 50% profit for, depending on where it goes, but 18 to higher profit, 18% profit on that.
What can you get for selling that 89 put, and what can you get for the 90 put?
Yeah, so it looks like I'll double check on the option chain, because this little gadget website is not always completely accurate. So let me just go here. So the 89 puts is going to get you about 116. 90 is 140.
Not bad.
No, it's not. It's not. If you're not trying to capture, again, if you're not trying to capture 100% and hold through earnings, because then who knows what it will do. But not bad. I want to get you guys' opinion on that. So you think that could be something? Could be something.
The market's pricing in almost a $7 move right now between now and August 1st. So
So you would be in that put if it goes
You-
down.
Yeah, you possibly, if you hold through earnings, and if you're out before earnings, I don't know if the time decay is going to actually get you a bunch of money before then. But the market makers are pricing in about a $7 move, like $6.85 roughly right now, and that's just rough using the pricing at the money straddle.
Yeah.
And
The only thing where this thing doesn't line up with what I do is the stock is not in a good trend.
No, it's just
From
it's
right
just
there.
bouncing. It could go either way, honestly, at this point.
I think it'd go higher. This is one stock that I own for my granddaughter. All three grandkids get to pick out one stock and then they have to follow it and give me a little report on how it's doing and stuff. And so she's 12. I don't know how these 12-year-old girls drink so much Starbucks, where they get the money for this. But I mean, little friends, they're over there like almost every day. So she's got this now, and it's just not, it's a longer term play for her. But I wouldn't do. It's not a bad naked put, but I would prefer something that's already trending higher, right?
Yeah.
Trend line.
Interesting. Okay.
and
Good.
my view on it possibly did bottom back in late 24 last summer, made an initial move up and a retrace to the May bottom, April, May bottom this year. And we have significant resistance between 95 and 105 that we got to clear to potentially break out and head on up to, say, 125 to 130. 130 is actually the price area that I was targeting longer term on this. I do have a long-term leap at 100, I think it is. It's either at 90 or 100 that I've been holding for a little while, looking for that bigger move up to 130.
Now,
So
what do you use for your resistance lines?
my support resistance lines are fib lines. I do my signature trend pullback continuation pattern. Basically, I've run a fib line from that high there in February, March this year, down to the low there in right around into April, beginning of May this year. And as we come up, I have a 618 resistance zone, the 618 retrace of that drop, hanging out right around. Put my cursor on it. It should be right around 99, so right around 100, right there.
Yeah. It's interesting how it lines up with the anchored volume profile. That's what I like using. Just this.
And then
price consolidation.
that consolidation that happened right there, that's where the low end at 95 up to about 105. I usually go just a little bit above the 618, and that's where I came up with that resistance zone that we got to clear to be able to get the move on up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's also interesting. Like the crossovers happened right around 105.
Jeffrey,
Yeah, it's kind of funny how this stuff lines up when you do it the right way.
Yeah, yeah.
have you looked at on their books how much money they have in gift cards that haven't been used?
I was gonna say that. I read something like they're like one of the largest like private lending or credit facilities in the world because of their gift cards.
They got all these outstanding cards
Yeah.
that people haven't used but they paid for already, right? They've sold the coffee and haven't poured it yet. And they're
Yeah.
sitting on all that cash from unused gift cards. Crazy how they're making a profit off that.
Oh, and if you ever need to reload, my wife complains about this. You can't just add, oh, I'm going to spend $9. I can't just add $9. You got to add like $20 or $30 or $50. Like it's always like this increment way above. Chick-fil-A does that too, where you can't just add what you're about to spend. You got to add some increment that's bigger, and then they sit on that extra cash till you come back.
In this town, there's no Starbucks or Chick-fil-A, so cards.
I don't like Starbucks coffee anyways. I'm a coffee.
So the company's just gonna sit on all Jack's Starbucks and Chick-fil-A gift cards.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do. Sit
Yeah.
on them. All right, Zoom users asking for the scuttlebutt on Tesla.
There's always what else is it except scuttlebutt? I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's bounced off I don't know. Who knows? It doesn't look like it's going to be great for Tesla. I gotta be honest, based on the intra earnings announcements of their flagging deliveries and whatnot.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the earnings are going to be. People are going to be disappointed in it.
Yeah, he does have a Tesla diner now, so maybe that will help.
He announced the second one at Starbase.
Yeah.
He'll be issuing gift cards pretty soon for his diner and on all the money too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Tesla.
But
Oh, all right. You're in Hollywood. Nice. I'm gonna be out there late August.
the thing is, the deliveries, everybody was expecting bad. Everybody was expecting them to be worse than the bad estimates, and then they came in actually better than that, and the stock has rallied since that announcement. So
When was
does
that,
earnings
like
do the same thing?
early July, right? Sometime around.
Yeah. And I still hold my support down there at 270. I still think we can go visit that. That may be what we do on earnings. Let's see. I actually have statistics I can read off here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, most of the time, Tesla drops on earnings, and that right now, 70% of the time we drop.
Yeah.
A cool 70% over the last 10 years.
Why is that, do you think?
I think expectations are just so high, and then
Nailed
Elon
it.
comes in and opens his mouth, and people get disappointed. And
Exactly.
the average move down when we move down is 13%.
Nice.
The average move up, though, if we go up, is 41%. So much bigger upside if we go up.
What's the short interest on this thing now? Do you know? 'Cause that's
I
yeah,
don't
here.
have that off the top of my head. The
Does
average
it-
reaction, average reaction all in, gains and losses, 100% of the time is a negative 7% move for Tesla. Is the
Okay.
average earnings move.
Does it usually I don't know, I don't know if you know this or have it handy. Does it underperform movement expectations or overperform them? Like is it usually like the implied, is it really outperforming the implied IV, or is
I haven't gone back and pulled all that. I just did this. I started keeping track of this about a year and a half ago,
yeah.
and whether it's in an uptrend or downtrend has no statistical significance, and whether it beats or doesn't beat earnings has no statistical significance. Funny
Yeah.
enough, so yeah, I've tried to pull extra meaning out of it. I haven't. Just 70% of the time it drops, and the average drop is 13.6%.
How are you gonna the way you gonna double calendar it? What are you gonna play it at all?
For me, I'm already long, and I actually sold 380 upside calls against my position.
Nice.
So it's a $50 upside plus the dollar I collected in premium when I did that yesterday.
Nice.
And for the downside, I don't really have anything except collecting that extra premium on the upside. But I'll probably look to sell another put if we get down that 270 area.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, 2.7. I mean that would be a tremendous new drop again after they were just looking so good. Right up here. Yeah, so I don't know. That's the scuttlebutt. I don't know who asked that. I forget who asked that about Andrew. Was that Andrew? Was that somebody else, Zoom user? And I don't know. Look, yeah, I know, it'll be interesting to see. I do believe they report what is it, after hours tomorrow?
Wednesday after close. Yep.
Yeah, Wednesday after close. So
This would be if you're really bullish, you can use my little earnings play where right at the close, right before the close, I like to go long the stock. Now, this is if I think it's going to pop on earnings after the close. Because sometimes the best action is if you can trade in the after hours, like on the Schwab platform, you can do it. So, one thing I've done is you buy a little stock right at the close, and then in the after hours, like 4:20, when they start heating up, 20 minutes after the close, you throw the stock out there for sale at a ridiculously high price because there's no market makers. So whatever they ask is, that's it, right? People come in and put an order in to buy it at the market. They're gonna pay an outrageous price. So what I like to do, if I think it's going higher, is buy the stock at the close and get ready to sell that in the aftermarket half hour after the market closes, and also buy some calls and then put those out for sale like Thursday, for example, on the open. Now, what's happened is I've made money on both and I've lost money on the option and made money on the stock. So this is a very, very, very aggressive play. You could do it to the opposite where you buy a put and you're short, right? And you cover your short in the after hours and then you sell your put the next day. That's a very aggressive move and you got to have a high conviction, but one of my favorite ways to play earnings.
That's really cool. And you can only do those after hours trades on certain tickers, right? I think Tesla, Nvidia, a few of them.
There's quite a few, you can do you can do some of the leveraged ETFs right now too, like TSLL, and get a 2x leverage. And when Tesla pops that big pop, you could get an actual more significant move. And I call these supercharged tickers. And there's a lot of opportunity here to get option-like gains and leverage without actually playing options. So if you do expect a pop, you can play this. If you are expecting a drop, you could play TSLS, which is a short ticker that has, you could do kind of the same thing. This one will pop when Tesla drops.
So affordable
for
too,
short,
right?
L for long.
So affordable. Yeah, you really gang up on this at 750.
And there's some other options like TSLT and TSLD. And I mean, there's a variety of leverage tickers on Tesla.
Very cool.
Which
Let us
some
know
of
in
the
the
people,
chat.
some people
What do you
ask,
guys think is going to happen? Let us know in the chat. What do you think? What's your prediction for Tesla? Going to go up or down after earnings?
yeah, up or down. Like, let us know in the chat right there, up or down. Everybody vote.
Yeah,
Says down.
K saying down. Down. Up, okay. Down, up, up's winning, down,
It's
okay.
pretty even, as makes a market.
Down, down pulls ahead. Oh,
Yeah, see if funny enough for me, if sentiment is down, I'm usually a contrarian and think that it'll
Oh.
probably go against sentiment. That's just
I don't think it's going to have an enormous sentiment one way or the other. Mussolini says it's going to stay the same price. Yeah, wouldn't that be
Yeah.
crazy?
that'd be hilarious.
What Nvidia did, nothing, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like something to watch out for. Everybody expects a big move one way or the other, and then nothing happens. A lot of volume. Stock stays the
it may
same.
just screw it. It's like you said, the market makers love when it just grinds at the same price.
Love here's Art says last bad earnings and it went up. And I'll tell you something that you don't always hear about earnings, and I'll just lay it out there. Is a lot of times analysts and traders and hedge funds and so forth, institutions, they look at the number, but it's the guidance, right? They're going to read the number, but they're going to hear the guidance, and it's what they hear that really sets the thing off up or down, right? That guidance. I'll give you an example with Caterpillar one time. They had the largest backlog of orders they ever had. And the stock was doing great and earnings did absolutely phenomenal. And then the guy just happened to mention that the backlog isn't as big as it was, and the stock took like a 4 or 5% drop, right? Just off of guidance. So that's not something you're going to see, right? When you read an earnings report, you read the number, and that's better than expected or worse than expected. But it's what they say about the future that really drives the stock after that.
I mean, the stock market is a forward-looking mechanism, and earnings are always 50-50. They're 50% about what we did do and 50% about what we're gonna do. And we're seeing a lot of companies pull their forward guidance too, and they're being punished for that. So
yeah, I mean, Philip Morris today got punished for that big time.
And that, the at the money straddle on Tesla for this Friday, pricing at about a $24 move. So are we going to do a $24 move, or are we going to actually underperform? And that would be down to 305 and up to 355. So
yeah,
that's kind of the range that the market makers are expecting by Friday this week. Right now,
what were those
today,
numbers again? 355.
305 and 355, basically.
Yeah.
At this current moment.
Yeah.
I think the better bet would be how much ketamine do you think Elon's going to be on when he shows up at the press conference?
He got a drug test, Jack. He's sober.
Did he? I don't believe
it. He actually did 2 and posted them on X.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how
he probably did a drug test with himself.
I think ketamine gets out of your system pretty fast. So I don't know. I don't think
those guys at the Pentagon had a problem with all that ketamine. They didn't want him wandering around in the hallways making spoons and knife airplanes like he did at that one dinner when he was high as a kite. Did you see that?
No, I never saw that.
He could put a spoon and a fork together, and he's looking at it like, wow, isn't that something?
Maybe it'll be a new rocket ship design.
Hey, I do that sort of stuff when I'm bored at a big dinner. I sit there and balance all the silverware. I'm not doing drugs.
On your nose. Like, wow, that's amazing, Elon.
It's like a nerd thing, man.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll see how high he is on Wednesday after the close.
Well, one thing I wanted just to ask you. So I noticed two things today. So Robinhood and Nvidia, which have both been super, super trendy, just driving the markets up. They're both selling off right here at this peak. Not coincidental, of course, that these last 2 days, SPX has also been really hitting this peak and kind of pulling down as well, the markets. So I just, this is nothing really much to discuss, maybe, but I do wonder, are we, has this 60, what is it, 63.34 level? Is this the short-term peak? Are we going back down?
I don't think
I do
so.
expect it to hit 63, 65. Just a little bit higher is what
A
I
little bit
expect.
higher?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where my
Tesla,
fib line's sitting.
they got to take a break, right? They got to. It scares me when it goes up every day. That's not normal. For them to take a little breather right now, that's healthy, right? Gives a chance to reset, change some hands. Hood was just on a massive rip, so it coming back down a little bit. That doesn't surprise me at all. Same thing with Nvidia, but this is not as high as it's ever going to go. Look at that. You got to take a breather in there, man, right?
You'll get altitude sickness.
And it's got to come down to go higher.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about it all.
Looks like might get a little bit of if it were to, this would be pretty good, 152 if it were to come back down to 152
Oh,
in a little while.
yeah. I'd go from 7,000 to 10,000 shares if it went down to 152.
Yeah.
So, interesting statistic. The NASDAQ 100 has now gone 60 trading days without dipping below its 20-day moving average. This is the second longest streak in the history going back to 1985. The longest streak we've had ended in 1999.
Okay.
We all know how that kind of ended.
Right. Right. Well, we were talking about this yesterday, is like history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. It's, and like with the speed, the way all these different financial products are, right? Like, this is really the first, and maybe all of the cycles, right, go just faster. So, we did, maybe April was like a bear market recession and just recovered. That's like, it just happens faster and faster now, all these stuff. So maybe this, of course, when people start saying that, that's usually when you should take caution. It's like this time being different that's when everybody gets hurt, right? But I thought it was interesting. I mean, we do have so many more financialization methods of the market, financializing the markets. Just what we're talking about open, right? It's like, geez.
Well, as the S&P 500 companies finish, the majority of them finish doing earnings over the next 3 weeks, there's already slated to be $100 billion of stock buybacks take place in this quarter after they get through their earnings. So that's money flowing in. That's already committed to buying their own stock. So that's still upward pressure, and it's still sitting out there.
The buyback has taken over the increase in dividends. Like these boards, they just decide we don't want to raise the dividend. We'll just do more buybacks. And it could be okay because it increases your equity in the company, right? When they're doing all those buybacks. But and it's kind of good for the stock, but I'd rather have a dividend than a huge buyback.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing though. When you look at the actual kind of mechanics of a buyback versus a dividend, they're actually paying that money out, but a buyback, they're buying their own stock and then putting it back on their balance sheet, which allows them to do it again and again and again. And it's kind of funny that way that if those buybacks are actually pushing the share price prior, it's taking care of shareholders, even though it's not cash actually flowing out to shareholders.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's a big move. More and
Infinite
more,
money
they
for
don't
the-
want to raise the dividend. They just want to do the buyback. So that's crazy. But yeah, I'd rather get the dividend. The buyback is great, but I still want a little payout.
Yeah, we've been talking about those yield max ETFs. I just wanted to pull up Asana real quick. I forget who, Steve, I think earlier. Real quick, Asana. I think Moskowitz has been buying a ton. I think this is him. He's just been piling into Asana. For me though, nothing here. I don't really see I'd want to. We just crossed the 50, so if you're trying to go long, I want to see it. I want to see the price is over the 50. I want to see the 9 and the 20 sort of start bouncing up against it before we decide to go long on Asana.
And for me, I just look at those highs, and it's lower high, lower
Right.
high,
Lower
lower
high, lower
high,
high,
lower
lower
high.
high. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's not.
a downtrend all day long, just waiting for a lower low.
Yeah.
It is. And it's too low to really short because, you know, you
Yeah,
just
zero is still zero. 15 is only 15. That's not much
Yeah.
room.
Right. ETHA art. Oh man, I can't type. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know what Ethereum is supposed to do with the smart contracts and all that stuff. It makes less sense to me than Bitcoin in terms of use cases, though. So, but hey, good. Chris, I think Chris yesterday closed out. He had he bought somewhere down here, got 47%, just holding it. So, I mean, it's if crypto keeps booming, I don't know. I don't know if either of you have any opinions about Ethereum or this one, ETHA, but
Well, I mean, I got a lot of opinion about crypto.
let us hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I was willing to hear out Jack real quick, but Ethereum was a great addition to the crypto space when it came out, and it added a lot of functionality that Bitcoin didn't inherently have in the beginning. And now, but the problem was it was proof of work, just like Bitcoin, and they decided that that was causing too much financial stress on the network. But you had a lot of people mining and participating. So they went to proof of stake, where you could just authenticate the network by holding Ethereum. Effectively, what that did, though, it squashed activity on the network because you're discouraging people from transacting. You're encouraging them just to hold it. So you're encouraging people to not use it for anything. And so I feel it fundamentally changed Ethereum, and you can see the chart has not performed. We have not made a higher high since that change happened in, I think it happened in September of 22. We did come up, but we made a lower high, and then we came up again and made a lower high. And, we've just been grinding right there. And I feel like significant resistance is at that high where we've kind of double topped right there. If we can get through it, there's potential to go higher. But, right now that sits right around, was it 40? I don't have it off the top of my head.
4103.
Yeah, 4103. I was going to say
40
right around 44,000. And so that's a significant resistance. And right now we're lower than that. So what did I say about lower highs? That's a downtrend all day. And then an interesting development, though, is Solana has come along in the background and created the ability to do everything Ethereum does, except it's even cheaper, which encourages more people to participate on that network. Like it's cheaper in, Solana wise, if you're paying the coins, and Solana's cheaper US dollar wise. So it's, a double whammy as far as cheaper. And they made it easier for people to roll out crap coins.
Yeah, all those pump coins are on Solana, right?
All these coins that are coming out right now. Hawk Tourist coin was on Solana, and just all these crap coins are coming out on Solana because it's so easy and so cheap to deploy them on Solana, and so this kind of took away another advantage Ethereum had. So when a third mark against Ethereum for me is there's no limit on supply. It has unlimited supply.
Right.
And Solana has unlimited supply. So these coins, they're kind of like US dollars, and the more we print, the less value it has. So everybody's kind of jumping in and hyping these things. But when you really look at the real deal fundamentals, a lot of these things have a lot of the same things in common as the US dollar, which has been going in the toilet for the last 100 years, it seems like.
Right. Well,
Now,
especially
the thing about Ether, there's a lot of people that want out, but they want to wait till it gets a little higher because they don't want to book the loss, right? But there's going to be a ton of selling as that thing goes higher. And people are not as bullish on the use of Ether, but the ETHA, the only way I would mess with that is if they approved options trading for it. and I don't know if they did.
Um,
If they didn't, I wouldn't
yeah,
touch
they
it.
did. It's
They
on
did
there.
approve
Yep.
options?
Yep.
That happened. Must have just happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it happened, but the pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good volume and everything.
No, Jeffrey, are you long Solana? Do you think Solana's got a future?
I have a little bit of Solana. I have a little bit of Ethereum. I have a
Yeah.
lot of bit of Bitcoin.
How
And
about Ripple?
how about what?
Ripple.
Ripple? I haven't dabbled in Ripple actually. I have the leverage ETF for Ripple, XXRP. Just because that looked like it was going to be a rocket ship here, especially if Ripple jumps up on when you actually look at the fundamentals of these coins, there's like 18.5 million coins as of today. XRP, if it just doubled, it would still be worth less than the market cap of Ethereum right now.
Yeah.
Now, as far as 10xing, you consider the amount of money that it would take to 10x XRP, it's going to have a market cap almost rivaling the current market cap of Bitcoin for XRP to 10x. So we're talking
Right.
about going from
It's not gonna happen.
$3.5 in XRP to $35 in XRP.
Not
Just
happening.
to do that move, it's going to have to gain the value of Bitcoin. I don't, yeah, as Jack says, not happening. So we got to keep our expectations in check. One that's interesting that has always like since it came out, it has always done multi-1,000% gains every time Bitcoin tops out is Stellar Lumens, which is XLM.
Yeah, yeah. I had Stellar back in the day.
Me too.
Yeah, that
I was-
XLM USD down
XL,
there,
that's right,
Coinbase.
XLM.
Yeah, XLM. This one has always done multi-1,000% gains every crypto having, at least for the last few cycles. And it's just absolutely crazy.
Look at
So
that.
you can see it's made a big move recently, but it still has a ways to go to the top, potentially. So
Yeah.
this one could outperform going even higher. And
It's
the use
cheap.
case for that one, use case for that one, I don't know. Like
Yeah, I was trying to tell my buddies this is like 2017, the use case for Stellar, and I was doing all the white paper stuff. I was like, I have no idea what this is, but it is. I don't know. I mean, it's basically just smart contracts or proof of something.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody's like, oh, we can have tokenization of this and that and the other, and he who controls the gold was probably going to control this, and JP Morgan is coming out with their own JPM, was it JPMX or something like that, that's going to tokenize actual assets. So most of these coins are not going to be used in that process if JP Morgan has their way with it and
Yeah.
actually rolls this out. I mean, Bank of America is already on board with JP Morgan using their coin and network thing. So that's not going to suddenly create this huge demand for coins that are existing. They're going to do their own thing and not, basically give it out to the plebes like us.
Right.
Lisa asks a good question. She says, "Isn't crypto secured with U.S. Treasuries? Only the stable coins
Yeah,
are.
only the stable coins.
The rest of it is just pure junk."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's secured with encryption.
Tether
That's why we call it crypto.
No
Yeah.
electricity, no crypto.
Yeah, everybody hears crypto, but you don't think about it being short for cryptography. And that's really what crypto is, cryptography currency. And it's all based on basically the difficulty of being able to factor very large numbers. And that for a lot of people, it gets way nerdy real fast, but traditional computing it's very difficult when you get a number that's 256 numbers long, and it's difficult to do math on those kind of numbers. It takes a lot of computing power and a long time to figure out the factors, which are two numbers that multiply together to get that very large number, especially when it's like a prime number that only has two numbers that multiply together to get that number. So this is kind of the basis of cryptography and expanding bigger and bigger. Now, the threat to this right now is quantum computing actually catching up and being able to break the encryption standards that we've held right now, like SHA-256 is what Bitcoin runs on.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are concerned because Satoshi's wallet that holds quite a large sum of Bitcoins hasn't been transacted and updated to the newer encryption standards that the rest of the network's been upgraded to. So that leaves his wallet subject to brute force hacking and cracking. And then once that occurs, those coins that are locked up in there, which is upwards of several million coins, could move and provide liquidity to the market and cause a big pullback in the price, because extra liquidity is supply and demand. More supply comes on the market, demand remains the same, prices go down. So this is an interesting dynamic that could, a threat potentially to the
Yeah.
Bitcoin price.
I had a guy explain it to me. It works for Hewlett Packard, and he explained to me uh, why quantum computing won't hack Bitcoin or the blockchain. And they're kind of doing all kind of moves ahead of that, and a lot of people are not worried about it at all. But what he explained to me, it's so far over my head, he might as well have been speaking Latin, because, I just don't get it. But yeah, there's going to be some kind of wake-up call when quantum computing really gets a use case of its own.
Yeah. And right now, there's not a single algorithm that they've developed for quantum computing that can't be done faster with traditional data center computing. So not a
Right.
single actual use case. So that's why I think all the hype on quantum computing is kind of just that hype right now, until we actually see some real use cases and real actual processors and real actual ability to use it to solve real problems.
Yeah.
So
Nothing's happened.
Well,
Nothing has happened, right? So
so many of these companies. I mean, I'm looking at this is my little quantum watch list. These are just a few tickers. Markets agree with you, Jeffrey, and in fact, at least today, that quantum is not where it needs to be. They're selling off. But yeah, I mean, none of these companies have hardly any revenue. I mean,
and
Brigetti,
one of the biggest leaders is Google.
yeah, yeah. These companies, these are all meme stocks to me. I mean, they're like, this is what I'm saying. Like this market is crazy. I mean, we talk. I mean, it's not just me saying it. We've all been talking about it. Like, there's no like with the companies that are giving the best returns that are like becoming household names. Nobody knows what they do. I like a lot of traders are no Rigetti or Qubit, right? It's like I don't know what Qubit really does. I know it's hypothetically. I mean, it's like somewhat tangential to quantum and does something there, but I don't know, man. It's just like you just trade it. It's like trade the technical setups, but I don't. It's not like Apple where I can tell you exactly what Apple does. They actually
yeah,
have products. I mean, these guys have less revenue than some like local plumbing companies.
I know.
Crazy, dude.
Art says Musk believes in AI and quantum to go to Mars. He's been talking about Mars a lot, but I tell you, if he wanted to impress me, I'd like to see Elon land on the sun. That would be impressive. Mars.
you know, Jack, circling back to Tesla real quick. He's got an interesting vision. I don't know that a lot of people look at this big picture, but he's built all these cars and deployed them, and they're all actual robots right there. And these robots are out there driving the road. Now, they may not be self-driving the road, but they're driving the road. And now he's looking to deploy his Grok AI in the next software update to all of these cars. What's interesting about that is that suddenly gives Grok, their flagship AI from XAI, vision to see the real world. And it gives them robots to test out things in the real world.
Yeah,
And
it's insane.
they can actually hear the real world, because all these cars now have microphones too to listen. So this is like, now, how do you get, if you think about it, why is SpaceX so focused on deploying worldwide internet? It's so that all these cars can communicate back to the Grok AI mothership. And it has nothing to do with providing internet for everybody. This is about being able to connect his robots worldwide. And then when he deploys the humanoid robots, they'll have that network already built out, so they can go and do anything worldwide and still be on the internet and still connect with the mothership. And this is just like insane when you really step back and look at the big picture of what he's deploying and how he's doing it with all his different companies. It's not any one piece could fail, and he still can carry it out other ways.
That is crazy. Yeah, wow. That is actually mind blowing.
So he's solving all these little pieces of the problem one step at a time and using different companies to do it at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, that's. I mean, if that's what if he pulls that off, that is crazy. Yeah, you're literally inputting AI into the daily world. Wow, all the conversations, everything.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So
Now, with all that being said, right, how to make money off of that? You can't invest in SpaceX. You can't invest in XAI.
uh,
But you can't invest
you,
in Tesla. You can trade Tesla. So,
there's
and
a private public crossover company, XOVR, that actually holds a significant chunk of SpaceX equity that you can invest in. I actually hold quite a few hundred shares of this XOVR.
SOVR.
You can also buy on those private networks like Equity Zen. You can get a private placement on Star.
That's
This
pretty.
one, this one is a way to hold. I think they have something like it's a pretty significant, like 5% equity stake.
Is this what other companies they have?
You, I don't know privately, but the public ones are listed in there. If you go on the right hand side, down at where it's XOVR, the thing that's on the bottom right of your chart there, the little data thing, and roll down where it says more about this fund, you can actually pull up and see what their holdings are.
No, it's like I have I don't know if people can see it, but I have our stuff on here.
I can pull it up on mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
And let's see. Trying to find it really quickly. More about this fund. And I can share the screen. Right here. Yeah, I actually do hold some of this, but they have public companies that they hold.
Yeah.
And just big names like NVIDIA, other
Go
equity
ahead.
offers and other things in there. And they have a significant chunk in there. Then Meta, Netflix, Oracle. I mean, is an interesting diversified thing, and they hold very little US dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, very little. That's cool.
And this is interesting though, because like most ETFs, if you pump more money into them, they can go out and buy the basket of shares. They can't increase their equity in the private. Like private companies don't just let you add more money. They have to have an equity offering.
Right.
So this is an interesting public-private crossover ETF thing that exists out here, that they can't just increase that private equity offering the same way that most ETFs can.
Yeah, the value of their holdings goes up. It's like a closed-end fund, right?
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. I do recommend reading the prospectus before you jump in too big with any investment, just to kind of understand what they're doing management-wise. And you can have AI read it to you if you want to.
That's super cool. Yeah, I'm gonna bookmark the sticker, do some research. If people do just want that exposure to Tesla, right? If they want to start trading, say they want to trade Tesla, say they want to trade, but they don't have maybe have the money for Tesla, right? Because it can be expensive, or maybe they want a little more they don't want to play options on Tesla. So how do they start doing that though? How do they start getting these gains without actually trading?
So a lot of people get into this, and you're new to trading, and then you find out there's these things called options. And Jack and I have been talking about, all of us have been talking about options here and there, and like it's no big deal. But for a new trader getting into this, that's a whole nother level of concept and difficulty and terminology. There's calls, there's puts, there's shorting and longing, and selling naked, and cash secured, and jade lizards and iron condors and bull put spreads and bear call spread. I mean, the terminology goes on and on. For a lot of people, that's stressful. Like, I don't really want to have to learn all of it, right? But there's a way you can get, and people hype, oh, you can get this giant return with options. But using something like these tickers I talked about earlier, like TSLL, it's a leveraged ETF that gets you exposure to leverage on Tesla without having to do anything except buy shares. You don't have to worry about options. So if Tesla does pop, that when we go look at Tesla, we were talking about that quite a bit here, and I was talking about the fact it might go up or down. Oops, TSLA. Put the ticker in the right, put the letters in the right order. So we were talking about possibly a $25 move up, putting it to 355. That's like a 7, almost an 8% upside. We're talking about same move down, 7, almost 8% downside right there. So what if you wanted to maybe amplify that to a potential 16% upside? You come to one of these that has 2x leverage on it, a 16% upside. We're not talking huge because we're not talking huge on the underlying, but a 16% upside move could put you in this $14 area. That's about a $2 move up. Not bad. And there's none of that stuff like time decay. There's no strike prices. There's no expirations for something like this. You can buy it and hold it. Now you could, do things like sell puts and, that sort of thing on these because they do have options too, but that's adding leverage on top of leverage, and that becomes more risky than just going on Tesla. And a lot of these are cheaper. Now, that's not always the case. One I was talking about last week was Rocket Lab, and RKLX. That stock is $92, whereas Rocket Lab itself is $46. So these can get a little bit out of whack and a little bit, it's not necessarily a cheaper way to play per se, but for a lot of the mainstream names, a lot of the Mag 7s, they have these tickers that are significantly cheaper, and you can take advantage of the moves. And like I said, there are tickers that go down, and these, this one's a bear 1x. So when Tesla goes down, if you think it's going to drop that 8%, you're like, well, I don't want to try to get into options. You could play this for the 8% potential pop, which would be roughly, a move from where it is today, 745 to about $8 right there. You just have to get out.
You can go long something that you want to go down.
Yeah,
right?
and the thing about this is these ETFs, you can get out in the after hours market. Like Jack was talking about, you can put one of those crazy orders in there to sell at, hey, I'm going to buy this and then I'm going to put that order to sell at like 850, and you might actually get filled in the after hours market if you check that checkbox when you create the order.
Yeah, so many new ETFs out there. It's amazing that you can go long an ETF that makes money when the stock goes down. It's crazy, right? Going long something that profits when it goes down.
And and there's more and more of these every day. Like I find new ones all the time. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that existed. I think ASTS has a brand new one that I saw this morning. Let me see if I can find that one. And we were talking about that one last week, that ticker ASTS, and I'm like 90% sure I saw it.
I think it's ASTX.
Yeah, ASTX, there it is, right there. And this has only been on the market since Friday, July 11th. So
Yeah.
11 days. This was literally brand new last week when we were talking.
Maybe that's why ASTS spiked, honestly.
So this, and this is a 2x leverage on ASTS. So ASTS right there. And look at that. What was the level I told you? 61. Look where we topped out and we're pulling back from. Stuff's not magic. It's just a trend pullback continuation pattern. Right there. We broke through, came up, stalled, retraced, retested, and then went for that 61 target. What do I expect now? Probably a retrace back in the 30s would be what I expect. Now, is it high probability? No.
Yeah. All right, who knows what Space Mobile does? Ostensibly, they put rockets in space or satellites, but again, they can hardly say they do that. They've barely done any of them. But hey, they made a lot of money for people. we had a 120% winner last week on it.
The one I was playing, Rocket Lab, it stalled out right here at that target too. I actually booked out my profit right here. You can see it on my official verified trades right here. I had sold that 41 strike call, and I ended up selling my shares out 41 for a nice fat 57% gain from where I got put the shares. So that was a nice little profit on that one, about 12 grand.